Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, says Nigeria is still losing 400,000 barrels of crude oil daily to local and international thieves, despite efforts to end the menace. Ribadu confirmed this when he led a presidential delegation to inspect oil and gas facilities at Owaza in Abia State and Odogwa in Eche, local government area of Rivers State, on Saturday. According to him, the activities of oil thieves and pipeline vandals had impacted negatively on the nation's economy and were partly responsible for the rising cost of living in the country. He said operators of artisanal refineries collect a small quantity of oil when they break the pipelines, while a larger volume of oil is spilled in the environment. Well, glad to say joining us to discuss this tonight is Mulade Sheriff. He's a Niger Delta activist, and he joins us for more on this story. Sheriff, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening. How is your location there?
Well, everything all good over here, Sheriff. Thank you very much, and I trust it's same with you. Are you confident that the Nigerian president and his administration can muster the political will to solve this issue of crude oil theft in Nigeria?
Well, first and foremost, let me commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the NSA, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, who recently took a tour to some of the prone oil theft states, particularly Rivers and Delta and all. And it is very important that the federal government embark on this to ascertain and to also get first-hand information of the process that led to continuous oil theft that have also devastated the environment. You know, one, we have two perceptions to this issue. First, the federal government is struggling to secure the crude, while in the other aspect, we are looking at the environment, because the environment has been highly devastated, bastardized. The traditional occupation of fishing or farming of the people has been eroded. So we are more concerned about the environment, while the government is more bothered, more concerned about the economy, and which the two are okay. So the recent visit of the NSA on behalf of the federal government was a welcome development. And I appreciate the federal government for taking the bull by the horn. If the federal government continue in this pace, we believe that oil theft will become a thing of the past in the shortest possible time.
Interesting, Sheriff. What should Nigeria's security agencies do differently under a Tinubu presidency to nip this menace in the bud compared to what was done in the past under Buhari?
Well, first, when you carefully estray oil theft is not carried out by the locals. We have been saying this as an environmental activist in the Niger Delta, and we're being seen as an antagonist to government. Oil theft is carried out by highly placed political office holders, by highly placed personalities in Nigeria. So the IOCs, the multinationals, took advantage of that by not adhering strictly to environmental best practices. That led to the continued destruction of the environment. Now that the government have come up and the Tinubu administration is determined to end oil theft, I will advise the National Security Advisor that first is to compare multinationals operating in the Niger Delta or in oil producing states to adhere strictly to environmental best practices. Then that will automatically reduce oil theft. Because oil theft, like as I said, is not perpetrated by the locals, has been canvassed everywhere. Oil theft is being perpetrated internationally and nationally. The locals are just foot soldiers who are being used to perpetrate or to support it. So if we want to stop it, the federal government, under the National Security Advisor, should change the architecture, security architecture in the oil and gas industry. Like recently, when the federal government, under the immediate past administration of President Buhari, awarded some of these surveillance contracts to locals. You can see the impact that this contract brought, and you can see the increase in our production. So they should adopt a more robust process by engaging critical stakeholders, so that all the stakeholders will be in the same pace by providing solutions.
Well, Sheriff, before we go, and interesting you brought up Tompolo's contract there with his company, Tantita Security Service or Services. So you took the words out of my mouth. We'll end on that note, which is to ask you, should that contract be renewed? Obviously, you say yes, because you've almost said something like that. But I want to just bring some new information to your notice, because an Arewa youth group known as the Arewa Youth Council is telling President Tinubu, don't renew Tompolo's pipeline surveillance contract. And we know that some days ago, the Navy released the vessel intercepted by Tompolo's men. So what do you have to say about this? I know you're in support, from what you said already, of the renewal of this contract.
Well, Tompolo is just a single person, and it's just one of the surveillance contracts. So why would we be discussing about Tompolo's contract in person? I'm not bothered about that. But what I'm even more concerned is that when locals are engaged to help protect the environment, I'm more concerned about the environment. While the federal government is more bothered about the product, we are looking at the environment. Our environment has been bastardized. Our occupation has been destroyed. We have no, our environment is our heritage. Our environment is our pride. So we will want a government that will be more concerned by protecting our environment rather than protecting just the products. So engaging critical stakeholders, the likes of Tompolo and any other, that you can give surveillance contract that will support, that will complement the effort of the Nigerian security agent, is a welcome development. But if the security agent fail, and ordinarily we expect the Nigerian security agent to do this job independently. But since maybe there were some conspiracy, some collabo in some places that made the security agent not to be effective, and that is why the past administration deemed it necessary to engage some locals to support them. So if they feel that they can do it perfectly, fine. But if they know that they need the support of locals, then giving it to the likes of him and other, and this is just one contract of surveillance. So Tompolo contract is not even the major issue, because there are other people that have several surveillance contracts. And beyond even the federal NPC surveillance contract, there are also IOCs that are giving surveillance contracts to some of their communities and stakeholders in the area. That is also helping. So will you go to cancel all those jobs? No. So the federal government should look inward. They shouldn't bother about the political sentiment, the hatred or the ethnic sentiment, but they should look at what will help to save our environment. Our environment should be more concerned to the federal government. Any part of Nigeria environment that is bastardized, it affects the entire nation. So don't feel that it's Niger Delta environment. The Niger Delta environment is bastardized. You are not interested in the people well-being, but you are interested in the product, the gold from the area. It is unfair. It is unacceptable. So they should think about the environment rather than just talking about the product.
All right. All right. Thank you so much for your time. A Niger Delta activist, Mulade Sheriff. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.